Hello student, it's a second lecture on hemodynamics. In our previous lecture, we studied definition, aims of hemodynamics, physical aspects of the CVS, functional aspects of the CVS. We studied, then we studied all segments of the CVS with their importance and function. Also, we studied important features of the CVS, and you should know what important features before to enter in actual study of hemodynamics. Students, in our previous lecture, we also studied what is the relation of cross-sectional area with the velocity. Okay, and you know the velocity of the blood is inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area. In this slide, remember that if the cross-sectional area it increases, for example, it is more in capillary, it is highest in the capillary, and here the velocity it decreases up to the 0.3, means maximum time blood it stays in the capillary, and this is the because of this it is possible for the capillary to exchange the metabolic end products with the nutrients, like with the nutrients and oxygen. Okay, so next slide is also we studied principles of the circulation, and under principles of the circulation it is an interrelationship between blood flow, blood pressure and resistance, and we studied the blood flow, definition of the blood flow. Then we studied the factors affecting on the blood flow, that is a difference between the pressure, difference between pressure, that is a pressure in the two ends of the vessel, and the resistance. Then we studied what is a effect of diameter of the vessels on the blood flow, then resistance to the blood flow. These are the various equations we studied in our previous lecture, that is what is Ohm's law, and according to the Ohm's law we get the blood flow is equal to directly proportional to the pressure difference and inversely proportional to the resistance. Then we studied Poiseuille's law in our previous lecture and apply this law in the actual blood circulation in our CVS, that is how the blood, as per the definition of the resistance, what is the resistance to the blood flow, how it is calculated, and what are the normal values of the total peripheral resistance, that also we studied in our previous lecture. Then we compared, that is the first equation with the second equation of, that is a Poiseuille's law, and as per, if we compile these two, if we take these two together, then we get the resistance, and it is our third equation. Resistance to the blood flow is directly proportional to the viscosity and inversely proportional to the fourth power of radius. Okay, then today we have to continue from the types of blood flow. Okay, under the types of the blood flow, because we studied the blood flow, and blood flow is directly proportional to the pressure difference and inversely proportional to the resistance. This blood flow in the various segments is divided into two types, that is a laminar blood flow and turbulent blood flow. What is a laminar blood flow? Laminar blood flow, here it is very simple, that as the blood flows in the vessel, each layer of the blood remain the same distance from the wall and the center of the vessel. Such blood flow is called the laminar blood flow. Laminar blood flow is silent and it occurs up to the certain velocity. Okay, at or above this velocity, the blood flow it becomes turbulent. Okay, so what is the meaning? Meaning is very simple. When the laminar blood flow is also called the streamlined blood flow, here it blood it flows silently, and all layers of the blood flow it remain in the same distance from the wall of the vessel and the center of the vessel. And here the laminar blood flow is silent, but when the viscosity of the blood flow it increases, then it can be converted into the turbulent. So what is a turbulent blood flow? Turbulent means when the velocity of the blood flow it increase, then the flow it becomes turbulent and it creates the noise, and that is called the turbulent blood flow. In vessel, it flows in all direction and continuously there is a mixing of the blood. That mixing of the blood it creates the currents, eddy currents, and that makes the noise, and that noise is called the murmur. From this diagram you can easily understand, in laminar blood flow it is a silent blood flow, it is a streamlined blood flow, and if you see the layers of the blood flow, it remain the same distance from the wall of the vessel and the center of the vessel. देखो हर एक लेयर ये अपने अपने जगह पे रहता है और सेम डिस्टेंस पे रहता है. It is called the laminar blood flow. But if there is a problem in the vessel and if the velocity of the blood flow it is increased above the normal, then laminar blood flow is converted into the turbulent blood flow. And what is a turbulent blood flow? Here the blood flow it is in the various direction and it forms the eddy current. Okay, eddy, that is called the eddy current means it flows in the various direction, and in this way if it flows into the various direction blood flow, then it creates the noise, and that is called the turbulent blood flow. Okay, turbulent blood flow will continue, and the turbulent blood flow it is related to the number of factors. So when the laminar blood flow is converted into the turbulent blood flow, or what are the factors which create the turbulent blood flow, these factors are studied under the one name, that is a Reynolds number. These all numbers are calculated and these factors which decide the Reynolds number. So from this equation, see the Reynolds number. uh, Re is the Reynolds number. Reynolds number is equal to velocity of the blood and the diameter of the blood into the diameter of the blood, and it is inversely proportional to the viscosity of the blood and the rho, that is the density of the blood. Okay, so turbulent blood flow, if there is an increase in Reynolds number, the blood flow is converted into the turbulent blood flow. A normal value of the Reynolds number is 200 to 400. Okay, in the circulation, if the Reynolds number remain in this normal figure, then blood flow is it is laminar. But if the Reynolds number it increases, we can say that turbulence turbulence develops when the Reynolds number exceeds 2000. Even in smooth vessel, the blood flow it becomes turbulent blood flow. If the Reynolds number is increased 2000 or about 2000, then blood flow it becomes turbulent even in smooth blood vessel also. Okay, so again you see the Reynolds number it depends on viscosity of the blood flow, diameter of the vessel, viscosity of the blood, velocity of the blood, viscosity of the blood, and the density of the blood. So these are the factors which decide the decides the Reynolds number. Okay, in next slide, Reynolds numbers is a condition under which the Reynolds number increases and turbulence occur. When the Reynolds number it increases or when the blood flow becomes a turbulence, these are the conditions which increases the Reynolds number. For example, high rate of blood flow, that is increase the velocity of the blood, it increases Reynolds number. Then pulsatile nature of the blood flow, if the pulsatile nature is more, then Reynolds number it increases. Then sudden change in the vessel diameter, if the diameter is suddenly changed, then there is increase in Reynolds number. Okay, when it passes by obstruction in the vessel, it affects on the Reynolds number. When it passes over the rough surface, then also it increases the Reynolds number. When it makes the sharp turn, that is when the blood it takes the sharp turn, then also the blood flow it becomes the turbulent, because it affects on the Reynolds number. Okay. Now next point, coming to the next point, normally the blood flow is turbulent, where in the body some points are there, the blood flow is turbulent. Normally it is turbulent, physiologically it is turbulent. And what are these sites? The blood flow is turbulent at the root of the aorta and pulmonary artery, where the blood flow slightly, it creates the noise. Also it creates the noise at the major arterial branches. Okay. Normally blood is turbulent around this or in these slides. Okay. Then pathologically, when the blood flow it becomes turbulent, pathologically, for example, AV shunt, arterial arterial to the venous, shunt, when the blood take the sharp turn, then it creates the noise and blood flow becomes the turbulent. Also we can get the noise or the blood flow is turbulent in valvular diseases. For example, valvular heart diseases, for example, the stenosis of the blood vessel, stenosis of the valves. What is meant by the stenosis? Stenosis means it is a resistance to the blood flow through the wall. If the diameter of the walls or the hole of the walls it becomes narrow, then it creates the resistance to the blood flow, that is called the stenosis. Then also it creates the sound, and that is called the turbulent blood flow. Turbulent blood flow, it also occurs in the anemia, because one of the important factors that increases the Reynolds number is viscosity, because Reynolds number is when the viscosity it increases, okay, and then Reynolds number it decreases. But when the viscosity decreases, the Reynolds number it increases. And in anemia, the viscosity decreases. And if the viscosity decreases, then blood flow it becomes the turbulent. Okay. Now, students, coming to the next point, and we are entering into the third important parameters, that is a terminology, and that is a blood pressure. Because in hemodynamics we are studying about the blood flow, blood pressure, and resistance to the blood flow. Up to this point we studied the blood flow, and also we studied the resistance to the blood flow. Then coming to the third point, that is a blood pressure. And we are not going in detail for the blood pressure, because we have the separate lectures on the blood pressure. Just here we have to see what is a blood pressure and how much is the blood pressure in the different segments of the body, and what is its relation with the blood flow and resistance. Already we studied the interrelationship of blood flow with the blood pressure. Any increase in blood pressure, it leads into the decrease in blood flow, and any increase in resistance to the blood flow, it also leads into the increase in blood pressure. So what is the blood pressure? The definition is, it is a lateral pressure exerted by blood on the wall of vessel while flowing through it is called the blood pressure. So blood pressure is a lateral pressure. It is created by the blood on the wall of vessel while flowing through it. Okay. Now very important points, students. Remember how much blood pressure is there in the different segments of the CVS. Okay. So blood pressure means we are always talking the blood pressure word, and that is used in the large vessels, and we says that the normal blood pressure is, for example, 120/80, but where it is in the large vessels. जो भी हम blood pressure consider करते हैं, or it is always in the large vessels, aorta and large vessels. Where the blood pressure we measure on the patient, it is measured on the large vessels, and it is about 100 millimeter of the mercury. The mean blood pressure is 100 millimeter of the mercury. But if you see the blood pressure in the different segment, then picture is different. For example, in aorta and the large arteries, the blood pressure is 120/80, जो हम measure करते हैं और हमेशा बोलते हैं कि ब्लड प्रेशर इतना है, but if you see in the left atrium the blood pressure, systolic pressure, or when the atria contract, the systolic blood pressure is 5 to 7 millimeter of the mercury and diastolic is 0. Okay, if you see in the left ventricle, in left ventricle maximum pressure in systole it is 120, and during the diastole it decreases to the 0. Okay, then when we enter into the aorta and the large arteries, the blood pressure is about 120 by 80 millimeter of mercury. Okay, in large arteries, but in arterioles, if you go ahead up to the arterioles, the mean pressure in the arteriole is 55 millimeter of mercury. Okay, जो large arteries में कितना रहता है, mean pressure is 100, while in arterioles it is 55. And if you see in the capillaries, that is a arterial end of the capillary, it is 30 to 35 millimeter of the mercury. And if you go to the vein or the large veins, then it decreases to the 10 millimeter of the mercury, and the blood pressure in the vena cava is just 0 to 2 millimeter of the mercury. So it is in the left side in the systemic circulation. It's a high pressure system. These pictures, these are the figures of blood pressure in systemic circulation. Now coming to the right side of the heart, that is a low pressure system, pulmonary system, the pulmonary circulatory system, the blood pressure. If you see in the right atrium, it is 3 to 5, that is systolic pressure, and diastolic, that is when atria dilates or relax, 0, it is 0. In right ventricle, when ventricle it contracts, the maximum pressure is 25 and the minimum is 0. If you compare with the left ventricle, the right ventricle, in left ventricle it can be increased up to the 120, while the right ventricle, the pressure is about 25 millimeter of mercury. Then if you go to the pulmonary artery and its branches, the systolic blood pressure is 25 and diastolic is 8 only. If you compare with the systemic circulation, it is 120 by 80, here it is 25 by 8. Okay, then if you see the arterioles of the pulmonary circulation, the blood pressure is only 10 as compared to systemic. In capillaries, pulmonary capillary, the mean pressure is 7, while in capillaries of systemic circulation, the mean pressure is 17, but here the mean pressure is 7 only. In venules, it decreases to the 5, and in pulmonary veins, it decreases to the 2 millimeter of the mercury. So, like this, it shows the blood pressure in the different segment of CVS. Okay, and the last slide, it shows the blood pressure. It is a blood pressure curve, or it is a graph, and it shows the blood pressure in the different segment. Same slide, previous slide, it is in the graphical presentation. In the aorta, the blood pressure is 80 to 120. Same it is in the large vessels. Okay, blood pressure is 180, sorry, 80 to 120, and in this way the blood, here the blood flow is pulsatile and slowly it becomes steady. And you know, in arterioles blood pressure it decreases, and it decreases maximum the 55 to the about here 40, or up to the if you see the arterial end, that is a arterial end of the capillary, it decreases to the 30 millimeter of the mercury. Okay, then if you go to the venous end of the capillary, the blood pressure it decreases up to the 10 millimeter of the mercury, and in the venules and the veins blood pressure is 10, while in the vena cava it decreases slowly and it comes up to the 0 or 1 to the 0 to 2 millimeter of the mercury in large veins and the vena cava. Okay. Now, if you see in the right side of the heart, the blood pressure in the right atrium, it is 3 to 5 milliliter of the mercury maximum, and if you see in the right ventricle, it is just up to the 25 millimeter. Maximum is 25 millimeter. That is a 25 millimeter of the mercury in uh, the right ventricle. When the blood is pumped into the pulmonary circulation, the maximum pressure is 25 to 8 millimeter of the mercury, and the mean pressure is only 20 millimeter of the mercury. So like this, it decreases. In the arteriole, it is only up to the 10 millimeter of the mercury, and in capillaries, it decreases up to the 7 millimeter of the mercury, and in venules, it comes to the 2 millimeter of the mercury in pulmonary vein. So like this, it shows the blood pressure in the different segment of the CVS. Okay, and it's a end of this lecture, that is a hemodynamics. Okay, so hemodynamics we studied, and under this topic here we have to apply the principles of the physics, that is a physical aspects in the blood flow. So you try to understand, and if you have any difficulty, you can meet me or you can ask me. Okay, so bye student, it's the end of lecture. Bye.